Yeah, very good afternoon to one and all. And today class I'm going to deliver about the most important concept in a lexical analyzer, that is design of lexical analyzer. Once all of you see the slide that I shared to you all, here the slide consisting of two representations. One is about an lex compiler and the another one is about an schematic lexical analyzer. And see the representation of lex compiler. See the representation of lex compiler. See here initially the input in the form of a lex specification, then in between the input program like an lex specification and getting an output in the form of a transition table. In between we're having an lex compiler. In between we're having an lex compiler. What the meaning of that is, here by using the lex compilers we are compiling the lex program. So the program should be in the form of an lex specification, and that output that we need to generate in the form of an transition table. That is the representation of lex compiler. That is the representation of an lex compiler. See the next one, next representation here, the schematic lexical analyzer. The schematic lexical analyzer. See what it means is taking the transition table and simulating the finite automata for that table, and then phrasing the lexeme for that. Then phrasing the lexeme in an input buffer. Here the representation of the structure is, from the transition it is going to the simulator, that is in finite automata simulator. What we are doing here is we're converting an NFA to DFA. NFA to DFA conversion is implemented here, and then after simulating the finite automata, then it is going to the lexeme. Here this is nothing but the representation of this is nothing but an input buffer representation. The input buffer consisting of lexemes, right? The input buffer consisting of lexemes. And here before going in detail, going to learn in detail about the designing of the lexical analyzer, initially we need to know the two representations of these. One is lex compiler representation, another one is an schematic lexical analyzer. The lex compiler representation consisting of two terms. One is an lex specification and the another one is an transition table, giving the input in the form of a lex specification, and by using the lex compilers performing the compilation process, and then finally getting the output in the form of an transition table. And while coming to the schematic representation of the lexical analyzer, and what the output here we're getting, after performing the lex compilers, we're getting the output in the form of a transition table. And from this transition table, what we are going to implement is we need to implement an simulations like an conversion between NFA to DFA simulations, or NFA epsilon to DFA simulation. And whatever we already learned in the course like in formal language and automata theory, there itself we know some types of conversions like NFA to DFA conversion, NFA with epsilon to without epsilon, and then again it is going to be converted into an DFA, and then how to minimize the minimization of the finite automata. Like that we're having some different types of conversions. So what the conversion that we need to implement here by using the simulators, by using the finite automata simulators, we're implementing the type of the conversion, and then finally we are generating the lexemes where we're storing it into an input buffer. Why? Because the input buffer consisting of an lexemes. The lexeme is nothing but an source program, right? The lexeme is nothing but an source program. See here, for efficient design of the compilers, make a note of this, what I'm going to explain about the lexical analyzer. For efficient design of compilers, various tools have been built. For constructing the lexical analyzers using the special purpose notations called as an regular expressions. And at the concept like an compiler construction tools, there itself we know in which language that we are going to specify, or what type of a language we are using for the specification of these scanner generators. The specification should always in the form of an regular expressions. There itself we know, by learning at the concept of construction tools, there itself we know what the specification that we need to use when we are generating the scanners. The specification should be in the form of an regular expression. Make a note of this. the specification that we are going to use to generate or to design the lexical analyzers should be in the form of an regular expressions, right? And the regular expressions, these regular expressions are used in recognizing the tokens. And now we will discuss a special language that specifies the tokens using the regular expressions. What the language it is. The tool that is nothing but an lex tool. It gives the specification. It gives the specification. Basically, lex is an Unix utility. Lex is an Unix utility which generates the lexical analyzers. And by using this lex tool, what we are going to do is we are generating the lexical analyzers. And this lex can also be called as a lexer, L-E-X-E-R. L-E-X-E-R can also be called as an lexer. That how we are spelling out is lex lexer. Lex lexer is very much faster in finding the tokens as compared to the handwritten lex programs in C. As compared to the handwritten lex programs in C, it is very much faster in finding out the tokens. So for that purpose, as one of the reason of that, we are using this tool. We are implementing this tool. The name of the tool is an lex tool. And here what the lex will do, lex scans the source program. Lex scans the source program in order to get the stream of tokens. We all know the sentence of this by scanning the input program, and then after implementing the lexical analyzer, what the output that we are going to generate is in the form of the stream of tokens. And that means the lex scans the source programs in order to get the stream of tokens, and these tokens are related together. These tokens are related together so that various programming constructs, such as, for example, we know some programming constructs like an expressions or some block statements or some procedures or some like control statements. All these can be realized. All these can be realized by relating together by using these types of tools. Right. See, by seeing an examples how to represent the transitions for the relational operators like this. See, here we're having a transition diagram for representing an relational operators. See, here we're having greater than or equal to, not equal to, or greater than or equal to, less than or equal to, less than. Here we're having some relational operators, and see how we represent the transition diagram for these relational operators. Starting with an 0, see here we're having 0 as an initial state, and 1 and 2. And here, how many final states that we are having? 2, 3, 4, 5, 7, 8. These are the final states. The double circle representations indicates that those are all final state representations. Starting from 0. Now read down. 0, what the string that we are having at the 0? That means what the output, what the written statement that we are generating by starting with an 0 and ending with an 2, by starting with an 0 and ending with an 3, starting with 0 and ending with 4, starting with 0 and ending with 5, starting with 0 and ending with 7, and starting with 0 and ending with 8. See the path representation from starts with 0 and ends with the final states. See what type of an relational operator that we are generating by using this transition. It is less than or equal to. See, here we are having an less than and greater than. What it means is, what the return statement that is going to be implemented is not equal to statement, not equal to operator. And here we are not having any terminal. Directly it is an less than. See, these less than, equal to, greater than, or all these acting as an alphabets. And here we're having only equal to. With the equal to, there is a transition path from 0 to 5. That means there where the statement that we are going to execute is only an equal to relational operator. See here, from the 0 we're having with an greater than, and from with the path is continued with equal to, and it is ending with the final state 7. what it means is greater than or equal to. Here, the statement, the return value that we are executing is the relational operator greater than or equal to. And see here, starting with an 0, reading an input greater than, and from the 6 we are having the another transition path with an 8, where 8 is in final state, but here we're not having any input. But what it means is the value that there were, what the value that we are executing is only the greater than, what where the written statement is in the form of an greater than, that is an relational operator, it is an greater than a relational operator. See the transition diagram how it was represented. By seeing the slide you can easily understand the transition diagram for all the relational operators. The transition diagram for all the relational operators. Right? And are you all clear about the representation of relational operators in the form of an finite state machine, what it means and transition diagram? Now, let's see. For the ID in the sense identifiers and the delimiters. Delims. I think you all know the word like in delims. What the meaning of delim is? What the meaning of delim is? Delims are nothing but a delimiter. The full name of the delim is nothing but a delimiter. Delimiters are nothing but a blank space or commas or any other characters or symbols that indicate the beginning or end of the character string. It may be a word or data item, whatever it may be, those are all comes under the delims. Right? And you all know how to represent an identifier. For the characters, we are naming the token in the form of an identifier. What it means, letter is an character. Sometimes you can take the digit also an character. So here we're having the alphabets like letter or digit. Here for the delims, we're having the alphabets like delim. Delim is only a single alphabet that we are using to represent an transition diagram. And here for the identifiers, we are taking the both letter or digit. And what the written statement that we are executing here is ID in the form of an lexeme. Right. And this is the way of representing and transition diagrams for the IDs and for the delimiters. Delim. We can call it as an delims. Right. For unsigned symbols, we can represent the transition diagrams like this. For unsigned symbols, we can represent the transition diagrams like this. And these are some example IDs like an unsigned IDs. Unsigned IDs in the sense the ID, it may be a digit or it may be a letter or it may be any other in the sense directly we're taking an word E. And see digit dot digit. See from 12 is the starting state and 19 is the ending state of this transition representation. And digit dot digit and E, you can take either it may be in plus or minus. Now I am reading with an plus digit. That's all. See, by using the directed path, I am reading this statement. I am reading this production like a digit dot digit E plus digit, or it may be an digit. See here, from 13 to 16 we are having the representation with an E, a directed path with an E, digit E plus digit. Right? Are you all clear about this? And this concept is already learned in formal language and automata theory, how to represent the transition diagrams and what the do's that we need to follow for representing the transition diagrams. What is the need of using these self loops? What is the need of reading this, using these self loops? Self in the sense, for example, digit whole star. That means, for example, my input is in the form of the specification that I am using in the form of an regular expression. And here the regular expression is digit plus digit whole star. Digit plus digit whole star. The star representation means it is an clean closure. What it means, the occurrence of digit is 0 or more times. The occurrence of digit is 0 or more times. So we are using these self-representations for the digit, right? And this is the way of representing then transition diagrams for different IDs. These are all comes under an unsigned symbols, unsigned symbol identifiers. Now consider the grammar like this. Consider the grammar like this. See, this is P1 is nothing but an pattern 1, P2 is nothing but an pattern 2, pattern 1, pattern 2, and so on, pattern n. See, before the all relational operators, this is an one type of an pattern, P1, consider it as an P1. This is another type of pattern. Here we're having two representations, P2, P3, P4, P5, P6, and so on. Those are all comes under the pattern representations. That means whatever we're representing in a meaningful manner by using the transition diagrams, there we are naming it as an pattern. See, here we're having a grammar statement tends to the production consisting if expression then statement, or if expression then statement else statement, or epsilon, or here the expression is another variable. For this new variable we need to write in production. Expression tends to term, relational operator term, and here the term is an new variable here. For this term we need to write then production, we need to define the production, then only it is an live variables, or it may be an term, or it may be directly an term, or term tends to id or number. This is the grammar. This is the grammar representation. For this grammar representation, by using the previous pattern, see how we're representing an with epsilon. This is the transition diagram NFA. The name of the transition diagram is a non-deterministic transition diagram with an epsilon. The machine, the finite state machine consisting with epsilons. See, 0, or it may be any other, with epsilon, with epsilon, with epsilon, with epsilon. Means merging all the patterns in this in such a way, in this format, in this representation. Merging all this, all the pattern 1, pattern 2, pattern 3, 4, 5, 6, so on, how many patterns that we are having, all those are all representing with the single state by connecting with an epsilon, by connecting with the input epsilon, right? So this is the representation. This is the transition diagram for the lexical analyzer with the relational, with the unsigned identifiers, unsigned symbols of identifiers, or with only the identifiers, or with the delimiters. See, this is the way of representing a transition table by merging all those patterns, starting with an initial state, maybe of any other, it we can take as a 0, and connecting all these patterns with an epsilon, connecting all these patterns with an epsilon. Now this can be called as an NFA with epsilon. NFA with epsilon. Here what we construct is an NFA, non-deterministic finite automata, and the machine consisting of an epsilon. So we are calling it as an NFA with epsilon finite state machine, NFA with epsilon transition diagram, right? Now, see here the Lex specification to lexical analyzer, specifying the Lex to lexical analyzer. This is the way of representing for constructing the specification. For constructing the specification, this is the representation. See the cursor where I am showing. This is the representation that we are here, that we are seeing. See here the regular expressions for valid tokens in the programming language. So taking the valid tokens from the programming language, we are constructing P1 to Pn transition diagrams. P1 to Pn transition diagrams. And now this, whatever we construct, this is an NFA. This is an NFA with epsilon. Now what we need to do is, this Lex applies the conversion algorithm to construct DFA that is equivalent to this NFA. We all know how to construct an NFA epsilon to DFA. Then that is the procedure we need to follow for converting this, right? Now, most important concept how generating an lexical analyzer with the lex tool or creating an lexical analyzer with the lex tool. See the representation here, a language for specifying the lexical analyzer. A language for specifying the lexical analyzer. See, initially the source in the form of a lex.l and it is sent to the lex compilers, and then it is going to generate an yy.c executable output. And now that yy.c executable output is taking as an input to the C compilers by implementing, by performing the compilation of the C compilers, then finally we are getting an object code that is an a.out. Now in the third level, we are giving an input streams to that executable object program, executable object code, and then finally we are generating a sequence of tokens. And finally, we are generating a sequence of tokens. See, creating a lexical analyzer or generating a lexical analyzer by using the tool like an lex. Here we are having a 3-step procedure. Here we are having a 3-step procedure. See, I am giving an in detail explanation about this. Make a note of important points when I am explaining. See, by seeing the representation, the lex specification file can be created using the extension .l. See here, lex source program lex.l, lex source program lex.l. Often we can also be pronounced like a .l, extension .l, or it can also be called as an .l. For example, the specification file can be an lex.l. The specification file can be an lex.l, or we can use any other variable like an x.l or a.l, whatever it may be, we can use. This file, this lex.l file is then given to the lex compilers to produce lex.yy.c. What it mean? What it mean is, to producing the file like an lex.yy.c. What it means the lex generates a C language scanner. Lex generates a C language scanner from a source specification, from a source specification that you write. The source code is written to an output file called lex.yy.c. By default, the name of that file is an lex.yy.c. Here we are using a function like yylex function. See, yylex function. See, again I'm repeating what the lex.yy.c is, how it is going to be implemented, and how the lex compilers are producing this lex.yy.c means, this lex generates a C language scanner. Make a note of this. Lex generates a C language scanner from a source specification that you write. The source code is written to an output file. The source code is written to an output file called as an lex.yy.c file. And by default, it is having a function like yylex function, right? And here, by using the file like an lex.file is given to the lex compilers to produce the lex.yy.c. And this lex.yy.c is a C program. It is an C program, which is actually a lexical analyzer program. Actually, a lexical analyzer program. See here, now going to step number 2. The lex specification file stores the regular expressions. What the file consisting of is all the regular expressions. We're storing out all the regular expressions for the tokens, and the lex yy.c file consisting of the tabular representation of the transition diagrams. And here, see the cursor where I am showing, consisting of the tabular representations of the transition diagrams constructed for the regular expression. See here, we get an output in the form of a lex program. That lex program consisting of a regular expressions, and these regular expressions are converted. What it means is this file consisting of the tabular representation of these regular expressions, right? Tabular representation of these regular expressions. And the lexemes can be recognized. The lexemes can be recognized with the help of this tabular representation of the transition diagram. And see here, we're using the C compilers. In specification file lex, actions are associated with every regular expression, and these actions are simply the pieces of C code. Whatever the actions that we are performing are simply the pieces of C code. This C code is directly carried out over the lexyy.c file. Finally, what it means is the compiler compiles this generated lexyy.c and produces an object program a.out and produces an object program a.out. And when some input stream is given to the a.out, then the sequence of tokens get generated. Right? This is nothing but an creating or generating a lexical analyzer with the lex tool, with the tool like an lex. Right? I think you all clear, you all understand clearly. Again, I'm repeating the same topic. Why? Because this is the most important concept. Creating a lexical analyzer with the lex or generating a lexical analyzer with an lex. And here we're having a language for specifying the lexical analyzers. That language is nothing but an lexical lex. That language is nothing but an lexical language. We can call it as an lexer or lex. Using a tool, we are calling the language as an lexer language, right? See, before knowing how to construct the transition diagrams for all these, like the relational operators, the identifiers, the delimiters, or any other unsigned identifiers for all these, and knowing how the grammar is constructed, and then finally representing a lexical analyzer for the transition diagram. Now, after performing the conversion process between the NDFA to DFA, converting from NDFA to DFA for the patterns that are generated for whatever the valid tokens in the programming language in the form of an regular expression, those are all represented in the form of an transition diagrams. And here itself we construct an NFA, and now we are converting the NFA into an DFA. What it means is by using the algorithms constructing an DFA to its equivalent NFA. And up to this part we know how the lex specification is implemented by using the lexical analyzer. What it means is knowing the representation or knowing the specification in the form of an regular expression, and for those regular expressions we are converting into an transition diagram. So that means the tabular representations, transition diagrams. We all know how to construct the transition diagrams from the given regular expression, and that the procedure that we followed here, and we implemented that, and now learning in detail about creating an lexical analyzer with the lex. See, again, I'm repeating the same concept because to make you clear, understand about the concept, again, I'm repeating the points. See, initially, our program is a lex program. Now, naming that file of that program with an extension .l. It may be an lex.l, or it may be a.l, or it may be an x.l. If the name of the file like an x.l, what it means is it is an lex program, because the name consisting of an .l extension, so we can identify that the program is an lex program. So the lex specification file can be created using the extension .l, right? And the specification file like an lex.l, see here, lex.l. This file is given to the lex compilers. Why we are giving this file to the lex compilers means to produce an lex.yy.c file. And what the lex.yy.c file is, it is nothing but a C program. This is an C program file, which is actually we are calling it as an lexical analyzer program. We are calling it as a lexical analyzer program. And here the lex specification file stores, and that means in the previous slides whatever we done, all those are all stored in an lex.yy.c file, right? Means it stores the file stores the regular expressions. For the tokens, and the file also consisting of the tabular representation of the transition diagrams, constructed for the regular expression. That's what we done in the last previous slides, right? And we already learned those, how to represent in transition diagrams. And we all know how to represent the table representation by seeing the transition diagram. And that all stored in an file like an lex.yy.c file. Again, I'm repeating, the lex specification file stores the regular expressions for the tokens, and the lex.yy.c file consisting of an tabular representation of the transition diagrams constructed for the regular expression, right? Constructed for the regular expression. And the lexemes can be recognized, whatever the process that we implemented there. And finally, we are getting the output in the form of an lexemes. So the lexemes can be recognized with the help of this tabular representation of the transition diagram. Right? Are you clear about up to this? And now, in specification file, that is an lex actions are associated. Lex actions are associated with every regular expression, and these actions are simply the pieces of C code. Pieces of C code. What it means is the C code is directly carried over to the lex.yy.c file. Directly carried out to the lex.yy.c file. Now, finally, the compiler, the C compilers, compiles this generated lex.yy.c file and produces an object program a.out and produces an object program a.out. When some input streams is given to this a.out, then the sequence of tokens are get generated. Then the sequence of tokens are get generated, and that is the name of the concept, generating an lexical analyzers with the lex, right? In a 3-step process, we are implementing, or we are generating a lexical analyzer with the lex. First, initially we are producing the C. We are producing the lex program, and with that program we are taking it as an input, and we are producing an object program. And for that object program, we are giving the input in the form of the streams and input stream. That means a stream of sequence of characters. And now we are from the a.out, what we are getting is we are generating the sequence of tokens, right? It is clear how the implementation, or how we are generating the lexical analyzers by using the tool like an lex, right? And further, we're having a small concept like a specification of the lex. In how many parts we are going to specify the lex? Specification of the lex. See here. And after clearly understanding about the creating a lexical analyzer with the lex, now we are going to learn about the specification of the lex. And here we're having a question. There we are defining a language, a lexical analyzer language, by using the lex specification. And now the question arises, how do we write the specification file? How do we write the specification file? Well, the lex program consisting of 3 parts. Lex program consisting of 3 parts. The part number 1 is a declaration part. The part number 1 is an declaration part. Part number 2 is an rule section, translation rules. Rule section, this is the part number 2. This is part number 1, where we are declaring the variables. Declaring the variables. That's why we are calling it as an declaration section. Part number 2 is an rule section. That means we are translating some rules here with an rule and an action. Rule is associated with an action. And what the third part is an procedure section. This one, procedure section. That means auxiliary procedures. Here we are defining some auxiliary procedures, right? See, what the declaration section consisting of. The lex program consisting of. The lex program is divided into 3 parts. How we are going to specify the lex? Here we are having a question. For that question, I am explaining briefly with this program. This is a lex program. This is an lex program. This program is divided into 3 sections. The first section is an declaration section. The second section is an rule section. And the third section is an procedure section. Make a note of the first one is a declaration, and the second one is an rule, and the third one is an procedure. And what we are declaring in the declaration section? In the declaration section, what we are defining there is declaration of some variable constants can be done, or some regular definitions can also be written in this section, or the regular definitions are basically components of regular expressions appearing in the rule section. And this is the task that we are performing in an declaration section. Again, I'm repeating. For example, if you want to define any variable constants, or if you want to define whatever the variables that you are using in your program, all the variables are defined at the declaration section. That's it, right? Declaration of variable constants, or some regular definitions can be written, or what the regular definitions means, basically the components of the regular expressions, the components of the regular expressions appearing in the rule section. That's what that is about the declaration section. See here we're using delim, white spaces, letters, digits, id, number. These are all are the variable constants. So we're declaring at the regular definitions itself. These are the comes under a regular definition. So at the part of and declaration section, we're defining all these. We're defining all this. And what the rule section consisting of? See here, we're having the name of the rule section is an translation rules. Translation rules. What the rule section consisting of? Regular expressions with associated actions. I think you all get. See, for example, here we're having WS. WS is an white space. If we encountered an white space, then we should ignore in an lexical analyzers. We should ignore in an lexical analyzers. If we encountered any comments, we should ignore in an lexical analyzer. So no action is to be performed while reading the white space or while reading the this comments like those. So in lexical analyzer, the white spaces and the comments should be ignored, right? And if you read the if, so what the written value that we are getting when we are reading if, then the written value that we are getting, what it means is rule with an action that we are performing here. In the braces, written is giving an associated action for the rule like an if. Then is an rule. It is associated with the action written then. Else is an rule. It is associated with an action written else. ID is an rule. And this ID is associated with an action install ID, written ID, like this, right? These are the translation rules. These are the translation rules. Means consisting of regular expressions with associated actions. These translation rules are represented with rule with an action. Rule with an action. See here, we're having some other representations in a translation. In a translation rules. Represented with rules with an action. See, it is a less than or equal to, not equal to, greater than. These are the rules, and these rules are associated with certain actions of that particular rule. What we are written here, what we are going to written, what it means, what we are executing here, sum and relational operator, what it is equal to, sum and relational operator not equal to, sum and relational operator greater than, right? I think you all get how to represent an rules, how to represent an translation rules. Translation rules always should be and rule with an action. Rules always are rule associated with an action. Where here each rule is a regular expression and each action is an program fragment. Each action is a program fragment. What it describes means describing that what action is to be taken for corresponding regular expression. What action is to be taken for that corresponding regular expressions, right? This is about an translation rules. And the next section is about an auxiliary procedures. Auxiliary procedures. See here, install ID. And see, we write some comment for that, what we are doing, procedure to install the lexeme whose first character is pointed to by YY text and whose length is length into symbol table and written and pointer there too. What it means is we are giving an description in the form of comments. In the form of comments. install id, install num. Here we have similar procedure to install a lexeme, that is a num, right? This is an procedure section. This we can call it as a third section in which all the required procedures are defined. Sometimes these procedures are required by the actions in the rule section. And here we are using some comments by representing in the form of some comments. We are describing the procedure for each and every function, whatever we are using here, right? This is the way of writing an lex program. The lex program consisting of 3 sections. The first section is declaration, the second section is an rule, and the third section is an procedure. I think you all get how to specify the lex program. What it means is, how do we write the specification file in an lex? This is the way of writing specification file in lex, right? And with this concept, the unit number 1 is completed. The overall concepts in unit number 1 is completed with this concept. I think you all are clear about up to this. The next concept is about the second phase of the compiler, that is an syntax analyzer. In the next class, I'm going to deliver about the syntax analyzer, and again in detail concepts of syntax analyzer, knowing about an in detail concepts of syntax analyzer and how each and every concept is going to be implemented with examples, right? Most important question. Explain about how to generate a lexical analyzer with lex tool. And this is also a most important question. Briefly describe or explain in detail about the design of lexical analyzer. You need to show the neat description by using these examples. These are the most important concepts in lexical analyzer, and with these concepts, the second part of the unit 1 is completed, and with this, the overall unit 1 is completed according to our syllabus. Right, for the next class, I'm going to deliver about the unit number 2, where the second unit is an syntax analyzer.